Suki Janssen is with us. Suki is director of the Athens-Clarke County Solid Waste Department and has been there for 18 years. Prior to her position in Athens-Clarke County, she was program coordinator for Keep Georgia Beautiful program within the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, Office of Environmental Management. She is a certified middle school teacher, grades 7th and 8th, and taught science in Cobb County, Georgia for 5 years. She's past Georgia Recycling Coalition president and board member, and current Northeast Georgia Regional Solid Waste Management Authority board member and Solid Waste Association of North America Georgia chapter president. She is a Georgia Master Gardener, Master Composter, and Master Naturalist. She published a children's book about nature's best recycler, the vulture. The book is titled There Goes the Neighborhood and came out in February 2020. She lives in Oconee County with 3 dogs and 2 snakes and a husband.
I'm just here to talk just about composting. No, not just about composting, because we do it, kind of one step up from or a little bit more material than you're getting at those aerated static pile compost bins at a community garden. Athens, back in 2010, we opened a commercial composting facility in Athens. So we're pretty excited about our facility. We are the 2nd permitted facility in the state of Georgia. Dublin, Lawrence County, can you believe it? Beat us to the punch on getting a permit for a commercial composting facility. So what we did back in 2010 was mainly compost biosolids with our leaf and limb debris, and we have grown now to composting food scraps. So we have actually 2 compost streams at our facility. Our facility opened in 2011, and the cost to open our facility was about $1.5 million. And public utilities, we were fortunate enough to have public utilities pay for our facility. Our facility is 9-acre site. It's co-located at our landfill. Our landfill has over 400 acres. And so we had an area 4 of our landfill that was sited to be a landfill. And instead of creating a landfill in that space, we created a commercial composting facility. When we started out, we started out with windrows, and noticed that real quickly that windrow composting took up a lot of space, and there was a lot of wasted space on our 9-acre site. Really, only half of the 9-acre site is used for actual composting. The other half is used for curing our compost, storage of feedstocks for our compost program. So we looked into, I think it's been about 5 years ago, maybe longer now, we toured several commercial composting facilities across the United States, mainly facilities in the Southeast. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of facilities in the state of Georgia. That's why I'm here speaking today. I would love, as the Ciannat, Georgia chapter president, I would love to have so many commercial composting facilities or small scale composting facilities that we could have a robust conversation about composting in our state. Unfortunately, we often have to look outside the state of Georgia for good composting infrastructure. So we toured lots of facilities, our staff did, and learned more about aerated static pile composting in commercial settings. So we converted our windrow composting facility over to aerated static pile. And we do that all with 2 full-time staff members, and we do have inmates that help us. We typically have 2 inmates and 2 full-time staff members. We compost leaf and limb material. In Athens, we pick up leaf and limb material. Our solid waste collections division picks up leaf and limb material once every 6 weeks from everybody that has a single family home in Athens-Clarke County. So we roughly get about 7,500 tons from our leaf and limb program. And we compost that with biosolids. We get about 5,000 to 6,000 tons per year of biosolids from our wastewater treatment facilities. That is composted separately from our food scraps. A couple of years ago, we had a commercial composting company. It was really a community composter. She was attempting to really get compost collection off the ground in Athens. Unfortunately, she was not able to sustain that business. So she came to us and just asked if we would be willing to attempt to continue servicing her customers by picking up their food scraps and bringing it to our facility. So we decided to do a pilot. We laugh and say that we're still kind of doing the pilot because we haven't really called an end to the pilot. We moved in from the pilot into regular food scrap collection. So we collect about 1,000 tons of food scraps annually. We are still in our infancy of collecting food scraps, 5,000 tons of biosolids and 7,500 tons of leaf and limb material. We compost that facility through our aerated static pile, and when we sell our end product for $20 a cubic yard. Here's our facility. You can see our aerated static piles. The really awesome thing about aerated static pile composting, even on the commercial level, it takes up a very small footprint and it's very inexpensive. We actually have $50,000 that we put in our capital budget I think 5 years ago, and we're still using that initial $50,000 investment to convert from windrows to aerated static piles. What we mainly purchase with regularity are those blowers, those little green blowers there. Those are bounce house blowers. That's all we use. Those are on a timer so that we can infuse our piles with oxygen. So we no longer have to use our windrow turner and turn the piles. So that's how we compost at our facility. We compost biosolids separately than food scraps so that we can sell them to sort of two separate groups of clientele. There are some folks that do not want biosolid composting, and we understand that. And there are some folks that want biosolid compost and not food scraps. So this is how we do it at the Classic City Compost Facility, again, co-located at our landfill. You can see too, just a little bit more of our end product. You can see the overview. The top left picture is our leaf and limb pile. That's where our feedstocks stay when they come in, and every other month we privately contract out a tub grinder. They come in, they grind up our leaf and limb debris. So we have a wonderful carbon source. And then we bring in food scraps and biosolids separately. Those are our nitrogen sources for our two different composts. We compost. Sometimes it takes about a month and a half to get good compost. We'll move that material off the pipes, store it till it's ready to be screened. You can see our screener. That's really our biggest piece of equipment at our compost facility. And we wouldn't necessarily have to screen, but it's nice, especially with food scrap composting. Food scrap composting does have some contamination. Forks, believe it or not, metal forks are not compostable. Sometimes they slide in there. Glass, pint glasses that beer was in, not compostable. Sometimes those get in there. Our screener helps us screen out some of that contamination. So that screener is important for us for that piece, especially now that we're doing more food scrap composting. And then you can see our pile on the right, our curing. Once we get the material composted, screened, then often it'll have to cure, stabilize, go back to ambient temperature, go back to a neutral pH so that we can sell that material to a variety of customers. We have farms, we have golf courses. Weirdly enough, we have other landfills that want to purchase it. It's great at growing grass, and all landfills across the state, once they close, have to maintain a vegetative cap. Prevent erosion. So it's great for that as well. To our biggest customers of in local landfills that want to go to sites. We have a great education staff, and annually we celebrate International Compost Awareness Week, the first full week in May, typically. So we've had to put most of our programs virtually the last couple of years, and that's how Mason Tao, one of our program education specialists, found out that former coach and athletic director Vince Dooley was going to be out there picking up compost, because everybody during COVID had to have appointments to come to our landfill. Here's some of our collection infrastructure. This is the truck we use for our pilot to pick up compost from 30 plus customers, and continues to grow now that we're coming out of COVID. During COVID, we lost some of our restaurant customers, but we mainly have restaurant customers. We do have some other customers before COVID hit. We did have some beauty salons that would want to compost hair and other products. So we have some of our roasters. We get a lot of coffee grounds, and we had a special composting program during the month of October. We partnered with one of the largest pumpkin farms, and we composted all the pumpkins that either were not sold or had already started to decompose on the lot. So we composted all those pumpkins at our facility as well. We only right now pick up commercial composting, compostable food scraps. We do not do residential collections. For residents, we have drop-off sites around Athens-Clarke County. So we have drop-off sites that are free of charge for residents at, there's 3 locations on this flyer that I incorporated today, but we just added a new location at Winterville, one of our cities that are within Clarke County. So we're pretty excited to have multiple drop-off sites for residential customers so that they can use our drop-off sites to get rid of their food scraps regularly at no cost. And then those food scraps get picked up through our commercial program and then delivered to our commercial processing facility at the landfill.